Welcome to Goblin-Inc. I'm Ace of Spades, and I made a build that can be played without Tempest Roar. This build can pretty much be played before you get Tempest Roar and with a low level of gear. As you can see, I don't even have gems for the gear yet. And definitely I'm not using any uniques other than Jan's Blessing. So, the biggest problem that we have with Tempest Roar at the moment is that you cannot have it. It doesn't drop from Duriel anymore, like God's Lair. That has to be seen if it's a bug or if they moved it away somewhere else. So unless you get it as a lucky drop, no Tempest Roar for anyone. I do personally have it, but I wanted to make a build that everyone can use. I just cleared a tier 61 pit with this, which is where you can get the second to last highest level material, or maybe the highest that you can get from pits. It's a good level of pits. Also, considering that I don't have pretty much anything enchanted or upgrade, and I don't have my resistances capped either, it's pretty good. This is really the bare bone minimum, and you can have really good time leveling and playing pits with this build without much. So, how does the build work? Well, the key component of the build is that your shout generates resources per second while active. Now, there's two variations of this build. I made one right now. As you can see, I have Blood Howl instead of having Stampede. So, Blood Howl shout increases critical strike chance by 10 seconds. You need this aspect if you want Blood Owl to be a shout. I do not think it's worth it. On my planner on Mobalytics, you will see that I do not have Night Owl's ring. So if you're asking, did you try this? Yes, I did try. I do not think having Blood Owl aspect is worth it. Having Stampede aspect instead of Blood Owl and having Poison Creeper is better, so just copy the planner that I have on Mobalytics. But I wanted to show it in case you were wondering whether this is good or not. Having two shouts active at the same time does not increase how much resource generation you're gonna have. So this is my baseline with just gear, spirit generation. This is one shout. And this is two shouts. It's the same as with just one shout. So we don't really have any reason to showcase that. So let's talk about the gear. The gear, we're gonna have Spirit Regeneration on chest and on helm, which is pretty useful. That's gonna be one of your main ways to regenerate spirit. So with that and with the shout generating spirit, you're gonna have enough spirit. Now, since we don't have Tempest Roar, we do not have access to a lot of good stuff like Vigorous Aspect, but we are gonna be running Debilitated basic skill grants 20% damage reduction, and we're gonna be running Fevered Mauling to get 20% more damage reduction again, so it's 40% damage reduction. The reason we do this is because Maul is gonna be our only way to turn into a werewolf. So let's go a second and remove Blood Howl and show the build with Poison Creeper. So in this case right now, Poison Creeper, we don't have Blood Owl, so how do we turn into werewolf? It's important that we turn into werewolves because we have shape-shifting buffs like Heightened Senses, Quick Shift, and of course also Digit Great Gate that works only when you turn into a werewolf, right? So how do we activate those? Very easily, we turn our Debilitating Roar into a werewolf skill. So we have 3 slots open because we don't run any uniques. We can turn Debilitating Roar into a werewolf skill, and with that and Maul we can able to turn into werewolf and into bear with only Maul and Debilitating Roar, which activates every single buff that we need. This is because this build does not even need the Perfect Storm for resources. No, instead of running Perfect Storm, I prefer to run Earth in Strength because it is 10% more damage reduction and 20% more max life. If you want to have more resource generation, you can run Perfect Storm and lose a bit of damage and a little bit of health. But I found myself to be not needing that. So that's really not a problem. I'm running Debilitating Roar duration on my items. I don't have even on my chest. I don't really want to do more tampering, honestly. And for the rest, it's pretty classic. We have Fortify Retaliation on the amulet. Also, this is a Chad amulet. It's my only good item. You try to have crit chance on both rings. I do not have it, but it is what it is. crit chance, attack speed, life on rings with damage to close and rest generation. And of course, chance to cast Tornado twice and damage close and rest generation on your weapon. And that's pretty much my setup. For boons, I've added Energize for more rest generation. I have Iron Feather, crit chance, and Wariness. I had to modify the Paragon, but before that, let's talk about the skills and the talents. We have Maul with Wild Maul. The chance to knock down is not bad, but also the increased range of Maul is good. Either of them is worth it. I tried knockdown. It's not bad, but I think maybe the range is better. I've been running full points in my passives here. Tornado, max ranks, of course. Full points here. I put an extra points now in Debbie Roar because I'm not running Blood Owl anymore. With the healing, you run your pets, just 1 point in Poison Creeper. You could run crit chance if you find some point, but I don't think it's worth it, especially because it does not activate on bosses. And you really never ever want to activate your pet abilities, and I will show you why in a second. You still want to run Envenom, because if you against bosses, you can use your Poison Creeper to poison it, but honestly, you can... I mean, the Poison Creeper will poison the boss for you, so this should be fine for bosses. Defiance and Circle of Life. You have Natural Fortitude, Heightened Senses, and Quick Shift. Again, I want to be clear that you activate Envenom on bosses with the passive of Poison Creeper. You do not want to activate. Now let's go on full screen here and showcase what happens. You have the Yance Blessing Boots, which means that the cooldown of your abilities will be reset for you for free. It can only occur every 8 seconds. The problem is that if you have in cooldown your Ravenous, Poison Creeper, or Wolves, the Yance Blessing can activate that. And that's not good. So what you want to do is that you want to only use Debilitating Roar and use Maul every 3 seconds or 4 seconds to keep the buffs up. And the rest of the time just spam Tornado. And the build will work like a charm without Tempest Roar. Cleared a tier 60, 61 pit with it, no problem, no gear, no gems. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on the next one.